Well, today's episode, we're going to review ChocoPro 229 with only two matches. And of course, we got New Japan with Best of the Super Juniors 29 with Block A. Now, we're going to see how far we see who will lose their undefeated streak, who will gain some points starting from zero, and the whole enchilada. And of course, we cannot forget NWA USA. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Leader Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Lead Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, the various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So let's begin with Choco Pro 229. Our first match, we got All Energy Chiko Shikawa teaming up with Sayaka. The team up, they're facing off against Shin Suzuki and Masahiro Takanashi. Now, Shin Suzuki mentioned in the previous um, Joko Pro show where he is a big fan of Masa. So it makes perfect sense because he has almost the same similar gear as him. But, however, in this match, Balin Aki noticed it that he is now picking up his bad habits. If you guys ever seen Masahiro, how he is when it comes to when he wrestles his opponents, he doesn't play exactly, by the rules. He sometimes bend the rules a little bit in his favor. So Shin started to pick up those habits. Now, we all know that Chiko Shikawa, who's all energy, can pick it up, can try to outdo him, but somehow Shin was able to overcome that as well, but it wasn't enough. It was Masahiro Takanashi who picked up the victory, but however, did Shin Suzuki already picked up the habit? Well, we'll see about that even further down the road. Now, our next match, we got Yuna Mizumori teaming up with Coyote Yoneyama, taking on my favorite tag team, the Best Bros, Mei Suruga and Balinaki. Now, you know these two, they're always have something up their sleeves. Well, mostly coming from Mei, who is a bit of the villain in between the duo, despite the fact that they're best bros. But they always have the best offensive, defensive, you know, strategy they can come up with. However, I always been like I said, I'm a fan of the Best Bros. But what they do is they manage to separate Yuna away from Coyote away from Yuna in order for the Best Bros to put Yuna in a submission in a pinfall. 1, 2, 3, it's over. I'm like, woof. Now, our Jonkin tournament, this one was a little fun. Balinaki was removed from the first round, but Mei Suruga started having a little fun here. If you guys been aware, she always has this hat like an apple, and she's trying to put her opponents who loses to her that they are now part of the Apple crew. Basically, they're going to be participating with her in the upcoming event on the 26th of May. The first victim was I forgot who it was. I think the first victim was Coyote, I think, and then the second was Yuna, and then finally Sayaka. So make sure to go won the entire thing. Nobody is not happy about it, but I thought it was so fun. So make sure you got away with it, but she won fair and square with the Jonkin tournament. So I thought it was pretty cool. So I can't wait to review 230 real soon. But right now, let's move on with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, let's start about New Japan Pro Wrestling with Best of the Super Juniors. Now we got some of preview matches are here. Bullet Club consistent of Dick Togo, Ghetto, and El Fantasmo taking on Yato, El Lindaman, and Titan. Now Titan will be facing El Fantasmo the following day, so we got to pay attention to that match. But of course, Kevin Kelly did ask him, is he worried about him? He said no. Well, we'll see how that goes for him. But as you know, this match was pretty interesting. Now, I think it's the first time El Lindaman interacts with Yato because, as you know, El Lindaman, he's not originally from New Japan. He's from Gleed, but he ceased to amaze me. But it was him who picked up the victory for his team, which is really good. So he's a guy that, for all you New Japan pro wrestlers, never seen him wrestle, check him out on Gleed and other locations he's ever been in. Next match, we have Lij, Shingo Takagi, and Bushi taking on Hiroyoshi Tenzan and Master Wato. Now, Wato will be facing Bushi in the B block the following day. But it was a pretty interesting match, but it didn't end with Takagi pulling up Made in Japan by onto Tenzan, picking up the victory for Lij. Now, our final match, we have Suzuki-gun with Taka Michinoku, Doiki, and El Desperado. Now, keep in mind, Doiki is not even looking at El Desperado giving him the cold shoulder. As you know, there's tensions between those two, but their opponents is Flying Tigers, consistent of Tiger Mask and Robbie Eagles, and their tag team partner is Wheeler Yuta. So this was a very unique combination. Now, keep in mind, Wheeler Yuta is a bit more violent than Robbie Eagles and Tiger Mask, but it was Robbie Eagles who picked up the victory onto his team with a Ron Miller special and give it up right from there. So the real question that's remained for this, who's facing what? Well, Doki will be facing Robbie Eagles the following day, and as for Wheeler Yuta, he will be facing Desperado. Those are matches you definitely don't want to miss out. Now, let's get to the Block A matches. First match, we got Show versus Clark Connors. Now, Show, you know how he is. He's a bit of a cheater. He ran all the way to the backstage to attack Clark Connors from behind, thinking that would soften him up. Well, it kind of almost did. But, Clark Connors, he's the wild rhino. He doesn't give up that. But until he put him in the shockwave, Show picked up a good victory right from there. Next up, we have Francesco Akira taking on Ryusuke Taguchi. Now, this was a very interesting match. Now, the reason I say is why. Francesco Akira, who is well known throughout the junior heavyweight division in all Japan, his reputation precedes him. But when it comes to a guy like Ryusuke Taguchi, that's a different matter. But the real question is Taguchi going to play a little fun game or try to take this more serious? Because the way I see it, Akira, he is basically United Empire. He doesn't mess around. But I have to say that Taguchi really pulled up a very interesting win on Akira. Now, Akira was not a happy camper whatsoever. I wouldn't be surprised if down the line he goes after him for payback for that match. Next up, two guys who are familiarized with each other during the junior heavyweight tag team division. We got Yoshinobu Kanemaru taking on Yo. Now, these two guys, they're known well another from tag teams. That's why they're. But the best moment of this is when Yo decided to play fire with fire. He uses the infamous whiskey that Kanemaru uses and spits at his opponent's mouth. Yo decided to do that, and then boom, it gave him the bit more of the confidence to win the match by applying direct drive. 1, 2, 3. Good night, Kanemaru. Next up, the inedible Ace Austin versus the Time Bomb, Hiromu Takahashi. That match was insane. I was like amazed with it. But however, I did mention Ace Austin does have a target on his back for being X Division champion. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Hiromu flies to the US and challenge for that belt. I wouldn't be surprised for that. But he did pull that off with the time bomb, giving him the win that he needed. Now, our main event, Alex Zane versus Taiji Shimori. Man, this is another interesting match. Now, people can criticize Alex Zane's like, the dude doesn't seem like a junior heavyweight. He seems like a heavyweight. In the post match, even Taichi agreed. He should have been. But keep in mind, I viewed Alex Zane in the same type of position as Shingo Takagi. Keep in mind, when he first arrived, he was at the border between heavyweight and junior heavyweight. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what Alex Zane was going through, that he was at the border of that. But if that was the case, then it would make sense. But it was the submission hold that Taiji Ishimori put on Alex Zane to pick up the victory. So, but he did say he should have been in the heavyweight, and of course, Alex Zane probably smiled, which is true. But I don't know why he was pushed in this. But we'll find out sooner, or maybe we'll never know. But I think that's pretty much it with Best of the Super Juniors. Let's move on with NWA USA. All right, our final review, NWA USA. Now, it opened up with May Valentine interviewing her old pal, Sal the Pal, formerly known as Sal Renauer. She seems a little creeped out by him by this. But the real question bothered me is why did he had to face his own teammate, Gags the Gimp? I have no clue. But Sal has changed. There's nothing wrong about that, but we'll see. Now, our opening match, we have the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship on the line. We had, of course, the challenger, Black G's, versus Homicide. Now, keep in mind what Billy Corgan did stated. Black G's wanted an opportunity, and he gave it to him. And I have to say, Black G's, he may have been a manager for far too long, but he did a pretty good job. I mean, we rarely get to see him wrestle, but it was Homicide with the cutter that allowed him to pick up the victory and retain the title. Now, during the podium with Kyle Davis, he introduced Nick Aldis, giving a bit of an adjustment about everything about how he's proud. He's a proud husband, father, and all this, and a proud pro wrestler. That he can't wait to get his hands and destroy Matt Cardona for his insolence. All this and that. And many fans are hoping that's what he's gonna do, and always ready. But we'll see about that. I'm kind of excited for that match. Now, our next match, we have the ill-begotten Alex Taylor, Jeremiah Plunkett to take on Brett Buffshay and Ronnie Mack. Now, from my understanding, from what the commenters say, Ronnie Mack took in Brett under his wing and all this and that. He didn't do so much, but I feel like he was doing exactly what Rodney Mack wanted him to do. Pick your spot. That's what you need to do, and you get out and give me the rest of it. That's how it was, because he's the big dog. That's how I viewed him. But Alex Taylor and Jeremiah Kaplan, they did put up a good fight, but they did not have Russ Freeman at their corner because he's not a licensed manager, which is a new thing that William Patrick Corgan has pointed out. But it was Rodney Mack who picked up the victory, putting Alex Taylor in a submission, and it was over right from there. Now, our main event is Sal the Pal versus Gags the Gimp. The entire time, Sal was saying, "Father's mad, father's mad, father's mad." I'm like, of course he's mad. He's always mad. He's the sinister minister. That's what he does. And I think that's what Sal now forgot. He is an unforgiving father. But I did not anticipate Gags the Gimp finding a way to win this match, and that's exactly what he did. He became the fan favorite out of the miserable faithful. I think many fans are like accepting Gags the Gimp for some odd reason, even though we're supposed to despise him. But I have to say, Gags the Gimp is a pretty good character. I think I'm going to enjoy him even further. But as soon as he picked up the victory on Sal the pal, he just took off. So that's pretty good. I have to say the show was pretty amazing. So I think that's pretty much it with the NWA. I believe it's time to call it a day. Well, hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, I only have two reviews on the next episode. One is from LA Fights, and I believe this is volume 4. Can't wait to redo that. And of course, New Japan Strong. And I think that's pretty much it. If there's anything else I'm going to put in, I'll add it. But if not, then it's just those two. But for now, I'll leave it with 3 reviews at this one. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.